Good morning, traders, and welcome to the weekend update here for April 26th, 2026. Steve Gans here, bringing you the latest market update, taking a look at charts, just crazy. So I can't still quite wrap my head around this massive move in our market over the past 20 days. So let me come in and put a ruler on this. If I put the ruler on this and just take a look at this, we get a move that is 14% in the SPX in 18 days. That is just nuts. You will go entire years where you won't get 14% return on the S&P. And this happened within basically a little over 2-week time frame. So very large move. So what's fueling this move at this point? I've had a hard time comprehending it. So I've done a fair amount of research on the possible causes. And of course, the three things, one is in theory, de-escalation in Iran, but that gets de-escalated and re-escalated on a daily basis. And that's not seeming to have a whole lot of impact on this when escalations come back into play. So I'm not thinking that's a big factor here. The second thing is AI and earnings that might be boosted significantly because of AI. We're going to know more about that here over the next 2 weeks because there are lots of major earnings coming out. So we're going to see how the market reacts to that. But I do think that is a real driver. And when we look in a moment at the Qs, even a bigger move, even more points to that being possibly a driver. But the third one, and this is one that isn't talked about as much, but I think it may be the real factor behind all of this, and that is a new Fed chair coming in that may be a little bit under control of the current administration, and that current administration is wanting lower interest rates. The fact that there is maybe a perceived value of this new person coming in and keeping rates at a lower level, I think might actually be the real driver here. So again, time will show us where this plays out over the next couple of weeks. If, again, Iran escalates, de-escalates, hasn't really had an impact, so I don't think that's the main driver here. It may have started it, but I don't think it's what's keeping it going. AI earnings, we're going to know more about over the next couple of weeks. And if those earnings are good and we stay up here, great. If those earnings are bad and we still stay up here, then I think it's for sure that third factor that I'm talking about, unless there's something out there totally hidden that I've missed. So anyhow, massive run in SPX. Right now, we closed Friday on all new highs. I don't really see this going away, even with potential worsening of the situation in Iran. Again, we got to see if earnings are going to have an impact on this. And if not, then I think it's all about the whole share of the Fed and the fact that they're going to be more dovish going forward. But volume stayed solid through all this. There weren't massive up spikes on the up days, but it's just very consistent volume in SPX. Of course, SPY looks exactly the same. We look at the S&P futures, very similar here. One little note that's been interesting is the couple, can't even really call them down days. I guess they technically were down days, but they weren't much of down days. Those days were a little higher volume in the futures market. I think that was just because they traded overnight, and when there were some things maybe that happened in the news overnight, they sold off a little bit, but regained quickly when the overall markets opened. Volatility-wise, volatility is certainly back lower, but it's not down here to prior lows. As much as this market has run, I would have thought volatility would have been back a little lower than where it is, but it is holding up a little bit. Now, Qs, this one is super nuts. If SPX is nuts, this is super nuts. We come in here, we put the measuring tool on this, and we end up with almost a 20% move in 18 bars. Again, absolutely crazy nuts. This is the single largest move in the QQQs. It's also the fastest that the NASDAQ has ever gone from an oversold to an overbought territory. So there's just some sort of massive fuel behind this. And again, I'm thinking it's one of those three things, most likely the third thing I mentioned. We look at volatility here, and we can see volatility in the Qs. While it's slightly elevated, it's certainly way off from where it was. Look at IWM. Even IWM broke out. So, very broad market rally. All three indexes breaking out to all new highs. And the volume on the little bit of down days or sideways days has been relatively lower. So people are not selling into this market at this point. And then the volatility on IWM, same as the others, it's pulled back significantly, but it's still not all the way back down to where it maybe would be historically in this high of a market, which is back around this 21 range or so for IWM. GLD is not rallying, but it's also not tanking. Many times in a big up market, people will run to the stocks and they'll sell out of their metals. We're not seeing a massive selling out of metals right now. People are buying the stock and holding the metals. So a little bit of a more unusual dynamic. Now, markets continuing to move up. I'm certainly cautiously bullish at this point, waiting to see how those three different things I talked about play out here over the next 1 to 2 weeks. So we'll certainly know a lot more at that point and have a better idea of what might have been the real driver behind this massive move. Now, I always get asked about the Flyagonal. How does it hold up when you have a massive down market? You've seen that it's held up extremely well over those big down markets. It's pretty good and easy to adjust in those big down markets. The more difficult market is massive runs up. These runs are unprecedented, and the Flyagonal, like any delta neutral, theta positive trade, they count on the market staying in kind of a general range when you structure those. Now, the Flyagonal series of trades has a very wide range, but we still need to be able to stay within those ranges or know how to adjust when we get outside of them. And the last couple weeks have certainly been a test for the Flyagonal trade. That said, these are the latest performance reports, and we can see that there is a little dip in here. If I zoom in, there was a losing trade that happened in there last week. I'd been on 31 winners in a row. Last week was a loser, and now I got to start that count all over again. But the two trades that came off this week, or total of 3 trades that came off this week, one was that first loser that I talked about, and then the other 2 were actual winners again. So now that we've stabilized and we're in a general range, that trade works pretty well again. So at the end of the day, we're still at a 94% win rate, one more loss than we have. 77 total trades in this series since I started doing this, 72 winners. Still very nice profit factor, average days in trade 5.2. 70% of the trades did not require adjusting. This number dropped a little bit. We had to have more adjustments in these recent trades with these big up moves. And there is an outside chance here that unless there's a winner closed out this week, there's an outside chance this could be the first losing month ever for the Flyagonal series of trades. And that is attributable to that massive run. Now, the good thing is that those hardly ever happen. Anytime you have a trade, you need to know where it excels, where it tends to fall apart or get into trouble. If I am trading a trade that can handle almost all market conditions, it certainly handles sideways, grinds up, grinds down. It even handles big moves down pretty well and is easy to adjust in those. If it only gets stressed when you have a 5%, 10% move up in a very short period of time, I can count the number of times that happens in the past 25 years on one hand. I can handle that. That's what gives this trade this extremely high win rate. And there are 3 different variations of the Flyagonal trade that I've developed, and one of them is designed specifically for larger ranging markets. So at the bottom here, we see the weekly profitability streak. These every week, there was a couple of losers back when we had the last big run. That was a whipsaw with the move down. and then a quick rapid move up afterwards. That is this chop that occurred right in here. And then the markets behaved in a somewhat normal manner for an extended period of time. And then we get this most recent massive run up, and that's what prompted this last week down here. So that is it for the weekend update here for April 26, 2026. Trade smart this week, everyone. Be careful around those earnings trades, and I'll look forward to seeing you out there on the channel. Take care.